My name is Jenelle Esparza. I'm originally from Corpus Christi, Texas. I've been living and working in San Antonio for about 14 years. And I started making art when I was a very small child, and I don't think I ever stopped. I also co-own and co-operate Presa House Gallery here in San Antonio, Texas with my partner, Rigo Luna. This is like the beginning of a series called Vessels. The series really started off because I wanted to learn more about Texas history, specifically like the brown experience, like the Latino, Hispanic experience of Texas, because that's just not taught to us in schools, and I feel really tied to that ancestrally. And so this whole series is working off of that. So I'm using these hyper-local histories that are like from a specific region or from a specific town or something that happened along the border. Some of it is violent, some of it is happy. Either way, it is still part of this like collective American history. And I feel like that just needs to be explored more and shared more. Because of my ancestral history with cotton in South Texas, cotton farming and agricultural work and migrant labor and things like that, that is tied to me through my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. So cotton became a really important material. And then in 2018, I started weaving with the fiber because I hadn't used the fiber in that way before. And that exhibition was exploring like the labor side and the bodily experience of cotton labor. So I thought weaving was such a physical activity, and it really is. I mean, you're using your full body, your whole mind, and your whole focus to count all your steps and get everything, just right. And so that's what really brought me to the practice of weaving and made it really personal for me. Weaving felt like learning to weave kind of felt like I used to do it, back in the day, and then I forgot, and now I'm just like relearning the steps. It still feels that way as I kind of work through it or experiment or learn new weaving patterns or techniques. And the materials are really important. So the cotton that is in the tapestries behind me are grown off the plant in that color, so there's no dyeing at all, but it's grown naturally, organically off the plant in that color, so that concept itself is also really important. I'm really interested in these parallels between how our experiences and our environments can leave marks, so to speak, within ourselves, within our bodies. Like if something traumatic happened to you and it leaves a scar, for instance, or when something historical happened in a place, there are usually some kind of geographical textures that can, you can sort of read or interpret to find out what happened and maybe like put a story together. So in a way, I'm kind of doing the same thing with using various textures and organic natural colors to kind of do the same thing and show that parallel. I think more specifically, the piece in the middle, that red shiny piece in the middle, was kind of experimental for me. I'm trying to create something that can kind of be felt as well as seen. And I feel like pieces like that, using interesting yarns that are maybe unnatural, but also paired with a really natural cotton yarn, can just like add more to the story when you're looking at it. So the found object on here is an old rusted piece of hardware. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm really interested in its shape. It's like a cast iron, looks like an old door hinge possibly. It's very industrial, but it's also really ornate. And again, I'm interested in the shape here. I think collectively it adds to like the whole story that all the pieces can tell here. And I do also feel like this is the very beginnings of a series. I hope to add on and create kind of like a sentence structure later on. They definitely work with each other, speak to each other, and it's very intentional. All the placement is very intentional. But I like experimenting with them or matching certain things up, or using one over here on the left side and an opposite version of it on the right. And I feel like that sort of ties them in together. And you can see an example of that in the pieces behind me with the tapestry, the green and white tapestry on the left has one like undulating pattern of diamonds inside of it, and it makes up the whole piece. And if you look closely at the one on the right, the green abstract patterns are also made up of that exact same undulating pattern. So it's almost like a mother and her offspring, so to speak.